All books are divisible into two classes, the books of the hour and the books of all time. John Ruskin.
Once upon a time, a beautiful girl was reduced to being a household servant by her jealous stepmother and cruel stepsisters. They called her Cinderella. The announcement of a royal ball for all the fair maidens in the land sent the household into a frenzy. But poor Cinderella knew she would never be allowed to attend. With the help of a bit of magic from her fairy godmother, Cinderella was given a beautiful dress and a magnificent coach, with the stern warning to return home by midnight when the magic spell would be broken. At the ball, Cinderella captured the attention of the handsome prince, and the two fell deeply in love. Fleeing the ball at midnight, Cinderella left behind only a romantic memory and a delicate glass slipper. The prince and Grand Duke searched far and wide for the mysterious maiden. With the help of her friends, and to the dismay of her jealous stepmother and stepsisters, Cinderella's true identity was discovered, and she and Prince Charming lived happily ever after. Hello, I'm Paige O'Hara. The origin of the story many of us know today as Cinderella can actually be traced back to a 9th century tale from China. The legend is known in almost every country around the world. There's a famous version from Scotland called Ration Coatie, an Italian cat Cinderella, the Brothers Grimm's Ash Girl, even a Nigerian folktale called The Maiden, the Frog, and the Chief's Son. In fact, more than 1,000 versions of the Cinderella story have been recorded and cataloged worldwide. Why is the Cinderella story so treasured around the world? It's probably because of Cinderella's clear-cut moral. The way you act toward others creates its own reward, or sometimes its own punishment. And with a little bit of hope, dreams can come true. Walt Disney based his film version of Cinderella on the most famous Western telling of the tale, French author Charles Perrault's Cendrillon, which was published in 1697 in his History of Tales from Times Past, a book that began the written history of the fairy tale. And that's the story behind the story.
The oldest books are still new to those who have not read them. Samuel Butler.
Once upon a time, there lived a king and his fair queen. Many years they had longed for a child, but when their wish was granted, the newborn princess was cursed by an evil fairy, doomed to die at the age of 16 by pricking her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel. In a kind-hearted effort by her parents and her fairy protectors, the princess was spirited away and raised in a forest cottage, disguised as a peasant girl called Briar Rose. Here it was hoped that she would live safely past her fateful 16th birthday. Alas, despite the best intentions, the curse was fulfilled, not in death, but with an enchanted sleep from which only the kiss of true love could awaken the princess. The good fairies put everyone in the castle into a deep sleep, awaiting the day when the spell could be broken. Only with the aid of Prince Philip was the power of the evil fairy destroyed, and the sleeping beauty was awakened by true love's kiss. Hello, I'm Jodi Benson. The tale of the Sleeping Beauty dates all the way back to an Arthurian romance, first printed in 1528. The Italian storyteller Giambattista Basile wrote his version of the story, called Sun, Moon, and Talia, in 1636. It was this version of the story that Charles Perrault adapted into his famous version of Sleeping Beauty, published in his History of Tales from Times Past in 1697. After Perrault, the Brothers Grimm wrote their version, called Little Briar Rose, for their own collection of stories, an 1812 German book called Children's and Household Tales. Although Disney's Sleeping Beauty offers full credit to Charles Perrault's version as its source, it is actually closer to the Brothers Grimm version. The Grimm tale ends earlier than the others, with the princess awakened by the prince's kiss. In the Perrault version, the awakening of the princess is only the halfway point. Perrault continued the story with the marriage and the events that followed in what becomes a very grisly story indeed. Sometimes, the choices made in adapting a tale have less to do with what is left in, but rather what is left out. And that's the story behind the story.
What if all the myths were true? Liu Kang.
Like most young Chinese women of her time, Mulan wanted to please and honor her family, but seemed destined to fail. When she was sent to meet the matchmaker, who was to find her a good husband, Mulan's gawkiness and lack of grace led to shame and rejection. These problems paled, however, when her aging father was summoned to join the imperial army to repel the invading Huns. Realizing that her father could never survive in battle, Mulan disguised herself as a soldier and joined the army in his place. Mulan's courage and ingenuity eventually distinguished her in the eyes of her commander, Captain Shang, and Mulan's actions became key in turning back the Huns in battle. When Mulan was wounded and it was discovered that she was really a woman, Shang abandoned her as a traitor. Left behind, Mulan saw the Han army heading for the imperial palace and raced there ahead of the invaders. When Mulan defeated the Han general Shan Yu and saved the emperor, she brought honor upon herself and her family and won the heart of Captain Shang. Hello, I'm Ming-Na. Since the dawn of recorded history, in every clan and every culture, from ancient Greece to China, Egypt, the Americas, and Polynesia, heroes have embarked on life-altering journeys. One of the most renowned and beloved of these wandering heroes is a young woman named Mulan. In Asia, the story of Mulan is as well known as the story of Cinderella is in Western culture. The story of this brave Chinese woman has been told for nearly 2,000 years, and Mulan is rumored to have been a real person. For Walt Disney feature animation, Mulan presented an unusual and powerful story with distinctive characters. The tale of Mulan also contains universal themes, that often the individual must sacrifice for the greater good, and that the path of personal discovery lies in that sacrifice. It was a legend that was developed enough to contain those strong elements, but spare enough to invite further development by the Disney storytellers. And though the incidents of the Disney story may not be derived from Asian legends, the spirit of the story has survived intact. And that's the story behind the story.